Hi, how are you doing? Hi guys, this is my first day back. I didn't do an IG live yesterday, and I will admit that I felt like something was missing. I started these IG lives right after we all got, or at least here in Philadelphia, when we got our stay-at-home orders, and I did them for pretty much 10 days straight. I did them weekdays, not weekends, and yesterday was the first day I didn't do it, and I felt like something was missing. So I'm glad to be back. This week I'm going to do it Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tomorrow I am going on IG Live with Burgundy Fox, so that's awesome. They posted something in their stories, so if you have any questions for me, they're going to be doing a Q&A, so send them a message and they'll ask me during the Q&A. But today I'm going to discuss sewing machines for lingerie. I think that the biggest misconception is that you need a fancy machine or a special needle, which you do need a special needle, but like a special presser foot to sew lingerie. But before I sew right now mostly on Faf's Creative Icon, which is their top of the line machine. But before I sewed on that, I sewed mostly on their Faf Passport 2.0, which is their entry level machine. Under $1,000. I'm going to go over it, what I like best about it and stuff like that. But before I even get started, I will start this IG Live by saying that I am a brand ambassador for Faf. So I am a little biased, but I became a brand ambassador for Faf by choice, because after I actually was a brand ambassador for another sewing machine company, actually two other sewing machine companies. And after my sponsorship with them, I actually wasn't really happy with their machines. And I sewed on a Faf before, and I always remembered it was the best sewing experience ever. So when I started Madalynne in August 2016, I reached out to Faf and I said, I love your machines. I'm starting my business. I want to represent your sewing machines at my workshops. And they've been an awesome partnership ever since. And I also, if you live in the tri-state area, I have partnered with a local sewing machine dealer. So if you're in the market for a sewing machine, I'm your girl. I can actually sell it to you, and you can either pick it up here or we can deliver it to you if you live in the tri-state area. And that's what's great about the open sews and the workshops, is that I have a range of Faf sewing machines here at the studio, and you get to try them all out. So if you want to try out the Faf Passport 2.0, the Ambition, the Creative Icon, you actually get to sew on them an actual garment rather than swatches that you usually do at a dealer. So I think that's a great opportunity to really test out a machine before you purchase it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about sewing machines for lingerie. My favorite sewing machine for sewing lingerie is Faf's Passport 2.0. The reason why I like this machine is because it is everything that you need and nothing more. It's affordable, it's solid, it's sturdy, and it can go on a plane. Ask me how I know, because I put my Faf Passport 2.0 in the overhead compartment on an airplane from Philadelphia to LAX, and it fit. And the number one question that I got was not, had nothing to do with like needles or like anything like that. It was, do you sew? And I was like, no, I'm just bringing this on a plane to get my biceps in today, on my bicep workout. So it does fit. And the reason why I like this is because a lot of my students are beginners, so they don't feel overwhelmed by this sewing machine. I know if I put them on the Creative Icon, they're like, whoa, how does this thing work? The Passport 2.0 is very user-friendly. It's under $1,000. And all you need for sewing lingerie is a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch. And I'm going to turn the camera around, and I'm going to, well, let me see if I can pull it up in here. Let's my Passport 2.0. So here is the Passport 2.0. Again, it is a solid machine that is under $1,000. Let's see if I can maneuver this to show you. So what I like most about this, everybody will say this when they come to my workshops, is the first comment is, wow, it is so smooth to sew on. So a lot of sewers with other machines, it like rocks on the table when you go fast. Pfaff, just in general, are known for quiet, smooth sewing, which is great because a lot of people put their sewing machines on the dining room table and it rattles and then everybody gets upset. The number 2 reason why I like Pfaff, not just for the Passport, but for all their machines, is that Pfaff is known for their IDT. And you're probably like, IDT what? So IDT is kind of like their branded technology, and it stands for Integrative Dual Technology. And if I turn this to the side here, so see this little guy right here? So that's what is a built-in walking foot. So I can engage it or I can disengage it. So I engage it pretty much all the times because I'm sewing lingerie fabrics. And you're probably like, what the heck is a walking foot and do I need it? So a walking foot, you have 2 layers of fabric that are moving through a machine, right? You have the top layer and you have the bottom layer. And you have your feed dogs underneath, and your feed dogs go like this and they move the bottom layer through. Now what can happen if you don't have a walking foot is that the bottom layer fabric moves faster than the top layer fabric. So when you get through a seam, you get to the end of the seam, they're not even anymore, which you can pin to prevent this. But having a built-in walking foot makes sure that both layer fabrics feed evenly through, so you don't have anything moving or short or too long when you're sewing a seam. So that is a game changer because sewing lingerie, I never sew sturdy fabrics. I'm sewing delicate laces, sheer cup lining, so they move a lot and they shift a lot. So that walking foot is so helpful. It is a game changer. I'm gonna go over a blog post, or when I finish this IG live, I'm gonna do a link to a blog post. I'm not gonna go over all the stitches, but this blog post gives all the stitches that I use for each application on the Pfaff Passport 2.0. So what's also great is that all of your stitches, which I keep this here for my students when they're sewing, this is also a great invention right here too. This is a little magnet that I keep with my pins on, see? So you never have pins losing. But all of your stitches are right here. So again, it has everything that you need, but nothing more. And all I use is the straight stitch, number 1, the zigzag stitch, number 3, and the triple zigzag stitch on wider bands. So I think this is a solid, sturdy, affordable machine that will last you so long. I've had this one since I started being a brand ambassador, so it is definitely a trooper. The other question that I did get before I went live is that a lot of people ask me about their sergers and their cover stitch machines. So I also have their new Admire Air here that I'm going to bring around, as well as their Coverlock 4.0. And somebody asked me, which one do you like better, or do you have any preference for one over the other? And I do not. It's like saying, do you like a sewing machine or do you like a sewing and quilting or embroidery machine? So one is just an overlock machine. It's a little bit simpler. That's the Admire Air 5000. And then the Coverlock is an overlock and a cover stitch machine. So it does 2 things in one. So they're both great. They just do different things. The Admire Air is awesome. So the Coverlock is definitely more expensive. The Admire Air is a little more price conscious. The Admire Air is awesome because the reason why a lot of people don't get into serging is because they're fearful of threading the machine, which I totally get. Let me switch this around. So if you break a thread while overlocking, let me just show you what you have to deal with. Okay, so this is the Cover Lock 4.0. And if you break a thread, you have to rethread all of that. Does that look like fun? Not to me. And then you have to follow these guidelines, which it's doable. Could definitely do it. I've done it many times, but it's definitely a pain. So what's great about the Admire Air, which I do have a Instagram highlight on it too, is that if you break a thread, all you do is put the thread in here and in here, and you press this little lever and it will thread all of that for you. So that's what's called an air threader, is that it will thread tongue twister. It will thread the threads for you if they break. So the difference between an Admire Air and a Cover Lock 4.0 is they just do different things. Now, another question that I got was, are the ambitions good? Are the Quilt Expression 4.2? Both of them are fab. They're great. They're just more expensive, and there's a little bit more to them. So a lot of my students are beginners. And again, I think that the FAF is everything that a lot of sewers need and nothing more. I feel like we all get into the trap of going into a sewing machine dealer and getting bombarded with, it has 300 stitches, and it has this, and it has this, and it has this, and you won't ever use any of that. So I like just buying what I need, saving my penny, and spending it somewhere else. So that is my recommendation for sewing machines for lingerie. I'm going to link to a blog post with all my stitches. I will link to the Admire Air highlight showing you exactly how the air threader works. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me. If you live in the tri-state area and you're going crazy over self-quarantine and want to purchase a sewing machine, or anytime in the future, you know where to find me. And I will hopefully see you tomorrow on Burgundy Fox, IG Live, and then on Thursday, I will be back for an IG Live on the difference between partial band and full band bras. I feel like a lot of people do not know what this is, but the sewing and the pattern making for both are completely different, so I think it's important to know. So I thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope to see you tomorrow or Thursday.